And it's time for the first game, the first round of the last game. This is again Copenhagen Roller Derby B team versus the Portsmouth Roller Wenches, here all the way from the UK. And that's 5 seconds to game start. And basically what you want to look out for is the person with the star on their helmet, in this case MC Rowhammer from Copenhagen Roller Derby. And MC Rowhammer from Copenhagen Roller Derby takes the lead. And that's the first penalty of the day the second penalty of the day. Since each player has a person in the penalty box. So if you're watching Roller Derby for the first time ever, the person you want to be watching out for is the person on each team with the star on their helmet. Everyone else in their team is either helping their star, their jammer, get forward, or blocking the other jammer, the other star. And that's jam start. And that's Tricky from Copenhagen Roller Derby, takes the lead again. Thunder Thighs from Portsmouth has taken off their star, but keeping it on. And Tricky is trying to score yet another round, but will they call it before Thunder Thighs gets to score points? Thunder Thighs is very close. Tricky is also ready to call it seems. And Tricky keeps going, has still not called it. Thunder Thighs gets another point. So we have today, the white team is Portsmouth Roller Wenches, the black team is Copenhagen Roller Derby. And that's jam time. It's 12-8 to Copenhagen Roller Derby at the end of that jam. What happened? And Portsmouth has 2 players in the penalty box, which means 2 players got a penalty. In roller derby, there are lots of penalties because there's a lot of ways to stay safe and stay protected. And there's an official timeout. They are discussing possible penalties, possible points. And getting ready to start the game again after an official timeout. An official timeout might happen if the officials need to discuss the rules, discuss whether points happened, discuss whether penalty happened. But we are back at it again. Yeah, we have a lot of refs because the rules are very complicated. Learning the rules as we go, yeah. And that's Nightshade, Copenhagen Roller Derby, falls out of the track, gets recycled by Portsmouth, re-enters. And that's Nightshade taking the lead from Copenhagen Roller Derby. From Portsmouth, we got 207 Ruby Trapp jamming, almost getting ahead. And that's Nightshade scoring points, 4 points for Nightshade. And Ruby Trapp gets ahead, but gets pushed back again. And that's black 2-1 getting a multiplayer. A multiplayer is a penalty where two players might be intersecting their joints, thereby creating a barrier that's impossible to get through. And Nightshade seems to be unsure whether to call it. Ruby Trap scores some points, but also gets recycled. And Nightshade has still not called it. And that's another multiplayer penalty for Portsmouth. It's a one-on-one and Nightshade, yeah. Ruby Trap and Nightshade, this is a very long jam, friends. It's a race to the finish line. And Nightshade still has the chance to call it, but does not do it quite yet. And that's the end of the jam, very long jam. And that's a team timeout. During roller derby, the teams can choose to take timeout, as in most sports, to discuss their strategies, take a little breather, have a little chat. And blocking for Portsmouth, we have Harold Bashut, 8-4, Slaughter Lou, 7-4, and Jamin for Portsmouth. We got and that's BethAmphetamine of Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead. And Portsmouth Jammer, 9-6, Pipistrelle Hell, makes it through the first. It seems BethAmphetamine is going to try and score some more points, but also looking out for whether or not she should call it. And she scores some points. She calls it right after scoring. So at any point in the game, the jammer who is in lead can touch their hips with their hands and decide to call the game. That might be to their advantage. Yeah, and let me know if you have questions. If anyone doesn't know what's happening, you can always ask questions to the announcers. I've been playing for 2 years and I still don't know what's happening sometimes. And that's MC Rowhammer of Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead. And Thunder Thighs comes strong in right after. It's a race to the finish line at this point, and MC Rowhammer calls it. And it seems to be a very close race, but Tricky from Copenhagen Roller Derby is in lead, but they are racing to the finish line at this point. Tricky jumps the apex and calls it. And that is what we call an apex jump. And that's an official timeout. Huh? So for those of you joining us for the first time, what you want to notice is the jammers at the back with the stars on their head. Every time a jammer passes a blocker from the opposing team, so let's say the black jammer passes a white jammer, they get a point when they pass the hips of a blocker from an opposing team. Another thing to watch out for is the penalties. It seems each team actually has players in the penalty box right now. A penalty is 30 seconds whilst the clock is ticking. So if there's a pause between the games, your penalty time pauses, and then it keeps on going. And we are back at it after an official timeout. Oh, and that is an extremely close one, but it seems that Portsmouth takes the lead on this one. Very good offense from the Portsmouth team. And Portsmouth sneaks around, gaining points and calls it off just before Nightshade can get any points from Copenhagen. Well done. Is anyone here cheering for Copenhagen Roller Derby? Yeah, anyone here cheering for Portsmouth? Anyone here because they love roller derby? And BethAmphetamine smashes through but still stays behind, and it seems that Thunder Thighs takes the lead. And that's a penalty for BethAmphetamine, which means we have a positive power jam for Portsmouth. That means that all that Portsmouth has to focus on right now is getting their jammer through those other blockers. It's a huge advantage when you have a positive power jam. The other jammer got a penalty. I'm not quite sure why. Exactly. There's a lot of penalties. Some things including touching people in illegal places like the spine or the head. Also touching with your hands is illegal. Kicking people with your feet is illegal. But the most common one is touching people with your forearm and touching people's spines. Oh, that's an attempt at an apex jump. That's okay, we can get another one later. And Portsmouth blockers are coming back in after a penalty. And still in the lead is Portsmouth. Will they call it before BethAmphetamine gets any points? It seems they are calling it. There we go, getting closer and closer. That's 51-31 to Copenhagen Roller Derby. And that's another official timeout. Meanwhile, we can thank our sponsors of Copenhagen Roller Derby, which is suckerpunch.com, where you can get all your latest roller derby gear or any other skating gear. You can get mouthguard, you can get sports gear, whatever you might need. And if you are looking at this sport thinking, that looks pretty cool, but I could never do that, you definitely could. We have a fundamentals team for anyone over 18 that anyone can join. You can borrow gear from us. And we have a juniors team for ages 10 to 18. Just email Copenhagen Roller Derby for more information. And that's back in the game. Official timeout is over. And that's a multiplayer for Black 6-3, which means they were interlocking arms or legs with another player. It's a very close game still. Both are very stuck behind the blockers. It's a stagnant round. That's another multiplayer, and Portsmouth takes the lead. And there we go, Portsmouth is still in the lead and has the ability to call the game at any time, but they are still going for it. Black 6-3 is getting back in the game after their penalty, giving Copenhagen another blocker. Another thing we haven't talked about yet is the people with the stripe on their helmet. That is what is called a pivot. A pivot has the ability to turn into a jammer if the jammer is particularly stuck behind all the other blockers. Oi! And Portsmouth take the lead with Tricky right behind from Copenhagen Roller Derby. And we got Pipistrelle Hell calling it just when they can get points. And it is still a very close game. A lot of things can happen in just one jam. And we're getting going, and Nightshade takes the lead very briskly. And what we have just witnessed is a star pass. The pivot has acquired the star, and sadly though, Nightshade pulls it before the pivot can get any points. But what you just saw now was the pivot receiving a star pass from the jammer. They got the star helmet, which meant they had the ability to turn into a jammer. And jamming for this round, we have Tripp from Portsmouth and BethAmphetamine from Copenhagen. And White 2-4 got a direction, which means they push someone the opposite direction of the direction we're going into. In roller derby, yes, you can push people, but you cannot push them backwards in the opposite direction that we're going. You can push them forward, you can push them to the side, but not backwards. And that's BethAmphetamine still in the lead. 3 blockers out from the white team. No, forgive me, it's a power jam. Power jam for Copenhagen. 2 blockers and a jammer is out from Portsmouth. BethAmphetamine from Copenhagen has to have blockers. Clearing the way for her is the best strategy to go before she gets more points. And Portsmouth jammer is back in the game. Beth is still in lead and could call it. The Portsmouth jammer might be able to gain some points before that happens. And apex jump, there we go. And another apex jump right from the top of it. And that's Tripp doing a star pass to player 227, Mimi. Mimi is now the jammer. Mimi has lost the pivot helmet. I don't know if that's legal. But that's the end of the jam. And that's Copenhagen Roller Derby MC Rowhammer taking the lead. The white team jammer has taken off their star, but are they successful in doing a star pass? They are. The pivot has taken the star pass, but does not get any points before MC Rowhammer calls the game. A jam can be up to 2 minutes long, but typically before the 2-minute mark hits, a player will call the game in their advantage. Do we have any questions from the audience? Does everyone understand all the rules now? You pretty much get it. There's blockers, there's jammers, there's refs, there's rules, there's penalties, there's points. And that's Tricky breaking through the pack, getting the lead for this jam. Oi! And Slaughterloo gains in, but Tricky calls it before they can gain any points. that's Nightshade from Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead with very lot of help from her pivot and blocker. Nightshade continues in the lead and gains some points. Will she call it before Peggy gains points for Portsmouth? She is not calling it. She's trying to do another round. Let's see. Will Peggy get some points before Nightshade's call it? And Nightshade is doing another round, still not quite calling it. Letting Peggy score some more points. And then she calls it, right before Peggy Peril can gain points for Portsmouth. So when the jammer touches their hips like that, it means they are calling off the round. A jam is basically one round of the game before we set up for a new one. And when you're the lead jammer, the first one to break through all the other blockers, you are the one who's allowed to call the game. And if you don't call it, it just ends after 2 minutes. I believe that was a timeout. Oh, and it is a close BethAmphetamine being held back still, and Portsmouth seems to be taking the lead just very at the nick of time. And it is a race to the finish line. Who gets to be on the inside of the track, who gets to go faster. And Portsmouth calls it before BethAmphetamine can get any points. So when the ref is holding up their hands, they are counting how many points the jammer has gained so far. One ref will follow each jammer, and they are showing if they've done 1 point, 2, 3, 4, or 0, or if they're starting again. Maybe 0, but maybe it also means that they're starting the round again, I forget. So right now they're saying their lead, and it's the first round. The jammer has to first pass all the blockers before they can start getting points. Now the jammer can get points, and they call it immediately. And jamming for Copenhagen, we got Tricky. And for Portsmouth, we got Thunder Thighs. Both made it through their first round. And Tricky plays it through. Will they call it? They still have not called it. They are allowing Thunder Thighs to possibly gain some more points. And Tricky jumps the apex, trips over, but stands up strong again. Direction, and that's a player from Copenhagen Roller Derby gains a direction, which means they're pushing someone in the wrong direction. And and that's jam. And we have just 7 minutes left of this round before we have halftime, and we are going into the second half of the game. And it is not uncommon for the points to be this different. Things happen very quickly in roller derby. And that is Portsmouth gaining lead for this round. We got Pipistrelle Hell from Portsmouth jamming for this round, managing to score some points. And we have a positive power jam for Portsmouth. We got the Copenhagen Jammers in the penalty box, along with the pivot as well, actually. So now Portsmouth players are all about helping their jammer gain points, pushing those Copenhagen Jammers out of the way. Oi, 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 right on the track, but they do manage to get recycled. Copenhagen's pivot is back in the game. Knocking out the jammer. And Portsmouth regain another blocker after a penalty. And they manage to pass and get some points. There we go. Beautiful circles. 9-9 was out of play and therefore could not push the white jammer out anymore. And Portsmouth is prepping for Copenhagen's jammer to be back in the game. Oi. And Pipistrelle held calls the game. A good advantage in that round for the Portsmouth. During the game or during the halftime, you can also go to the merch booth and get beautiful merch. Give it up for our refs and NSOs today. Our refs are short but doing such an amazing job. If you're thinking, oh, I really like this sport, I really want to get involved, but I don't want to be on skates, you can join our magical NSOs, our non-skating officials. You can come to our scrims, learn all the rules. There would be no jams without NSOs. And that's a very strong wall from the Portsmouth wenches. But Copenhagen takes the lead. And Ruby Trapp takes off their star and attempts to do a star pass, it seems. And that's Black 2-1 gaining in a penalty. For what? I'm not sure. It's hard to keep track. And Beth gained point. Will she call it before Portsmouth gets in? She will. And Beth calls it before Portsmouth gets points in that jam. It's been a lot of short jams, the last couple of jams. Calling before anyone gains points. A strategy to use indeed. And that was white 2-7 getting an early hit, which means they hit someone before the game started. And Copenhagen Roller Derby takes the lead, but are very closely followed by Portsmouth. It is a race to the finish line. Portsmouth takes the inner track, and Copenhagen Roller Derby calls it because Portsmouth was so fast. And that's jam start. Very strong through walls from both players, but tricky. Nay, definitely gets through by the millimeter. And it sees Portsmouth is attempting to do a star pass and is successful in getting through the first round. The pivot becomes the jammer when they take on the star. Boy, Copenhagen's jammer falls over. They are still in the lead and can call it. Copenhagen calls it. And blocking for this round, we got Slaughterloo, Tripp, Hazzard, and Harold Bashop from Portsmouth jamming for this round. We got Ruby Trap. Copenhagen jamming, we got Nightshade taking the lead. On the blocker, we got Switch, Mazamora, Brutalis, and Cosmo. And that's the jammer getting a penalty, which means it's a positive power jam for Copenhagen. Copenhagen is focusing on getting their jammer ahead. Which means Copenhagen is focusing on mainly doing offense, the opposite of defense. In offense, you are helping your teammate gaining points. In defense, you're trying to defend yourself from the other team getting points. And that's Nightshade gaining another 4 points. Oi. It is a very positive power jam for Copenhagen indeed. Portsmouth staying strong, trying to keep. Oi! Was that a penalty? I'm not quite sure which one it was. But it's a positive power jam for Portsmouth now. Portsmouth powers through. And it's the last jam of this half. Will Ruby gain some points for the half is over? And that is the end of the first half, everybody. We have a 15 minutes intermission where you can go to the merch booth and get beautiful merch. We got the Portsmouth roller benches, have gorgeous mirth, the concrete cows, and of course Copenhagen Roller Derby. There's also stickers if you don't want to commit to an entire t-shirt. I'll see you back in here in 14 minutes and 34 seconds. And we are back at it again. 5 minutes left of intermission before we start the games. Jill, have a good break? Did you have a good break? Are you excited for more roller derby? Are you excited to see some people falling over? Some penalties? And some points? Woo! Jamming from Portsmouth, we got 222 Thunder Thighs. And jamming from Copenhagen. Oh, Copenhagen's jammer was in the penalty box before the break, and now she is back. It's Nightshade. And that's a penalty for Black 6-3, using their forearm when they weren't supposed to. We're only supposed to use our upper arms, our chest, our thighs, but not the forearm. And Nightshade is trying to gain some more points. Will she call it before the so she calls it before Portsmouth can gain any more points. Copenhagen has 2 blockers in the box, one just got out. Jabbing for Portsmouth, we got Pipistrelle Hell, who is in the lead right now. Coming up behind them is BethAmphetamine from Copenhagen. Pipistrelle Hell slides through and gains the advantage, gains 4 more points for 3 more points since Copenhagen has a blocker in penalty. They also have their jammer in penalty. It is now a positive power jam for Portsmouth Roller Wenches. Copenhagen gaining another blocker. And now it's all about Portsmouth Roller Wenches helping their jammer get through those blockers. Beautiful strategy. And they glide right on the edge of the track and make it through, gaining another couple points. And BethAmphetamine returns, but immediately gets another penalty. It seems it was a direction. And Pipistrelle Hell is still behind the Copenhagen Roller Derby pack. Not quite gaining the points yet. Copenhagen staying strong. Pipistrelle Hell sneaking in through along the track, and they managed to get through, calling it off before, which means they get to start with a positive power jam. They will start with Copenhagen's jammer in the penalty box. This is a huge advantage for Portsmouth. They can focus on offense, offense, offense right from the get-go. Offense is, of course, when you are just helping your jammer get through. Defense is when you're defending yourself against the opposing jammer. And that's jam. Copenhagen's jammer is still in the penalty box, but standing. Portsmouth and Copenhagen's come back in. Will Portsmouth gain through? Oy, and Copenhagen's jammer gets out of the track. Still no lead, and Copenhagen takes lead. And Portsmouth is stuck behind the pack, taking off their star to give it to the pivot, and it is successful. Portsmouth pivot, Peggy, Peril, gains the star, puts it on, becoming the jammer. And that's jam. As an announcer, it's hard to stay neutral during these games, but I'm just excited when something cool happens. And that's Copenhagen gaining an advantage. Tricky standing right on that line, managing to push through. And we got Portsmouth Jammer. 2-2-2, Slaughterloo, passing through, making it through their first pass, and knocking over Copenhagen's Jammer. It's a race to the finish line. Copenhagen's Jammer calls it before Slaughterloo can gain any points. We got some short jams, calling and calling and calling before the opposing team can gain points. That's a timeout. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe an official timeout. Maybe just a technical difficulty. Jamming for Portsmouth, we got Pipistrelle Hell 9-6, and jamming for Copenhagen, we got MC Rowhammer 1-3-3-7. And Portsmouth has 2 blockers in the penalty box, which means that Harold Bashop and Rolex are going to take this by storm, blocking just 2 blockers. And MC Rowhammer manages to power through, gaining the lead for this jam. And Portsmouth returns. And that's jam. The question is, the jammer is saying points to their teammates whilst they're skating. That might just be a communication method between them. Sometimes it means push people out of the way. Sometimes it means trick them. Everybody's got different strategies. And that's Portsmouth pivot. Peggy Peril in the penalty box. That's a lot of P's. And MC Rowhammer gets, no, that's BethAmphetamine getting knocked out and recycled. When a player falls out of the track, they can only get back in by going behind the people that were in front of them before they got pushed out. And BethAmphetamine passes through again. Jamming for Portsmouth, we got Ruby Trapp. Still on their first round, I believe. And pushing through, which means they are about to begin gaining points. If anyone can do the hammer time dance, they can do it now. No jam? I don't really know what happened there, but something did. Oh. Once you pass someone with your hips, you get a point. And it is 8-1, 8-1-8-7 to Copenhagen Roller Derby and 84 points to Portsmouth Roller Wenches. With 21 minutes left on the clock, Nightshade takes the lead. Jamming for Portsmouth Roller Wenches, we got 2-2-2, Slaughterloo. Managing to push through. And everyone is a bit stuck right now in the pack. Slaughterloo is very stuck. Will they attempt to pass it on to the... Oh, and Slaughterloo passes through with beautiful offense from their team. We can also once again mention today's sponsors, Sucker Punch, which is where you can go and buy your roller skates. If you don't want to buy roller skates immediately, but you still want to give roller derby a go, you can join our fundamentals team starting up again in January, where you can borrow the gear from us, see if it's something you want to do, try it out, free of commitment, but you might just get addicted like most of us do. That is if you're over 18, you can join the fundamentals team. If you are between the ages of 10 and 18, or you know someone who is, you can join the junior team. Juniors train here every Tuesday afternoon, right here at Diggy Eboon. So it's close to Central Station. Anyone can get here. And what I love most about roller derby is that in between games, everyone's chatting and joking with each other. There's good spirits and cute vibes. We love it. And it's a fresh start this jam. No one is in the box. Everyone is feeling smooth and ready. And that's back at it. The blockers are dancing with each other. But now it's about to get serious. Oh, and Portsmouth takes it on very quickly. Almost getting knocked out by the pivot, but not quite. Portsmouth takes the lead for this one. That is 9-6. Pipistrelle Hell taking the lead for Portsmouth Roller Wenches. And sneaking in again, just around the end of the track. Gaining some points. Points. And for the first time, Nightshade makes it through their first round, not quite being lead, and Pipistrelle Hell calls it, giving 8 points to Portsmouth Roller Wenches, 0 to Copenhagen Roller Derby. Leaving it at 195.92 to Copenhagen Roller Derby. And MC Rowhammer of Copenhagen Roller Derby takes the lead. For Portsmouth, we got Peggy, Peril, Jammin, 5-7, and they managed to get through their first pass as well. MC Rowhammer gets brutally recycled. Will they call it? She calls it. All right, we're gonna get sporty. We're gonna do that thing that they do in sports. Are you ready? Are you all ready to do a wave? Okay, is everyone ready to do a wave? We're gonna start the wave over here and it's gonna go all the way to the end of the track. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Way! Roller Derby! Woo! And that's Tricky of Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead. Don't be tricked by their shirt. Their name is Tricky, not Zena. And Ruby Trapp of Portsmouth passes the star pass successfully to their pivot. They've got such great names, I keep having to read them. Harold Bashop is pivoting and now jamming for Portsmouth Roller Wenches. Tricky's right behind them in the lead. Will they call it? Will they call it? They will gain the points, taking the points, and they call it. And that's the pivot hat on the floor. What happens if you drop your star sign? You have to get it again before you can gain points. Basically, if you take it off, that means you're trying to pass it to the pivot, the person who has the stripe on their helmet. And the pivot has to put it on before they can gain points. And when you pass the star to the pivot, you cannot throw it, you have to physically touch hands before you can pass the star. And that's Nightshade Copenhagen Roller Derby in the lead, knocking out Slaughterloo 222. And we're halfway through almost the second half of the game, the last half of the last game of the day. Do we have any questions from the audience, or do you know all the rules of roller derby by now? I bet you do. Close call, but it is BethAmphetamine who takes the lead for Copenhagen Roller Derby for this round. And a successful star pass to Peggy Peril. Peggy Peril is now gone from being the pivot to the jammer. Zamora makes it out of the penalty box, rejoining their blockers. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. And MC Rowhammer Copenhagen takes the lead. Jamming for Portsmouth, we got 207 Ruby Tripp. Still stuck in that first round. MC Rowhammer passes their first round, gaining their first 2 points. Portsmouth has 2 blockers in the penalty box, which means that Copenhagen can only gain 2 points per round. And MC Rowhammer's down. And Portsmouth 207, Ruby Tripp gains their first round, but Copenhagen pulls it. And that's a timeout. And that's the end of the timeout. We are back in the game. Jamming for Portsmouth, we got 222 Thunder Thighs. And jamming for Copenhagen, we got Tricky. Tricky sneaks through as Slaughter. Portsmouth Roller Wenches has a blocker in the penalty box. Tricky comes back in, gaining their first couple of points. But it's a race between the 2 jammers. Oh, it's trying to knock each other out. 222 Thunder Thighs might just maybe get some points, or will Tricky call it? 222 might just be getting some points. Tricky's going to try and get another round, it seems, before they call it. Can Thunder Thighs keep up? And they attempt an apex jump, a jump over that top of the track. Didn't quite succeed this time around, but still managed to sweep through and gain some more points before calling it. And that puts Portsmouth's Roller Wenches up at 102 points, Copenhagen Roller Derby up at 239 points. And with just 12 minutes left of this game, Nightshade jamming for Copenhagen Roller Derby. Pipistrelle held, knocked out. Blocker on the floor. Blocker's up again. Pipistrelle held sneaks through. Oi! Graceful apex jump. It seems that Portsmouth is attempting to do a star pass, giving the pivot an option to be a jammer. And that's a penalty for Black 6-3. I believe for multiplayer, but perhaps for something else. And we got a player from Copenhagen was trying to knock out the player from Portsmouth, the jammer. But because Switch from Copenhagen also fell out. Oh no, that was a cut. So Tripp Hazzard of Portsmouth received a cut because they did not go behind all the other blockers when they were thrown out of the track. And that's Nightshade pushing through to get another couple of points. She still has the ability to call it. She is still in the lead, and she calls it. All the 2-minute timer ran out. That's just over 10 minutes left of the last game of the day. And Slaughterhouse attempts a jam start, but they are at the front. Copenhagen's jammer still manages to take the lead. And BethAmphetamine of Copenhagen Roller Derby calls the round before the other team can gain more points. And that's MC Rowhammer from Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead with Ruby Trapp right behind them. The fiery shorts versus the knee-on skirt. It's a close race on this one. MC Rowhammer swoops through but manages to stay behind and calls it because Rowhammer could see that she was threatened by the presence of Portsmouth Roller Wench's jammer. And that's Tricky of Copenhagen Roller Derby taking the lead right away off the bat. With Thunder Thighs coming in right behind him after a successful attempt at a star pass. Oh, and that seems to be a damaged toe stop from our Copenhagen player, 9-9. Oh, a damaged wheel. The wheel is turned sideways. Oy. With just 7.5 minutes left on the clock, Copenhagen might just be out of a blocker. Let's see if we can fix those wheels. That is definitely not what they're supposed to look like. No one in the penalty box. It is a clean start for both teams. Oi! And both jammers seem to be falling over, but just about make it through. Nightshade is in the lead, with Pipistrelle Hell running right behind them. Number 9-6 is a race to the points. And a weird amount of rolling forwards from the blockers. You'd think that they would stay in one place, but they are switching forwards. And that's called the jam. We've got just over 6 minutes left on the clock. Anything could happen in these last 6 minutes. That's BethAmphetamine seeming to take the lead, being shoved a bit by Rolex, but taking the lead for Copenhagen Roller Derby. Right behind them, we got Thunder Thighs attempting to do a star pass, but managing to get through without a star pass. They don't need it. In the box, we got BethAmphetamine in the box from Copenhagen, which means it's a positive power jam for Portsmouth Roller Wenches. Portsmouth Roller Wenches is focusing solely on offense, and Copenhagen focusing solely on defense. Managing to get through, gaining those 4 points. As all of Copenhagen's blockers are on track, they can gain points from all 4 of them. And BethAmphetamine is coming back on the track, which means that Portsmouth has to get back to the offense. BethAmphetamine is not lead, so Pipistrelle Hell has the time, the power to call it at any time. Again. And that is a penalty for white 227, the pivot. And that is definitely a black buck from the Copenhagen jammer, which gives Portsmouth another positive power jam, 2 in 1 jam. That is kind of a rarity, guys. Thunder Thighs pushing through, getting so much help from their team. Their team is all about offense right now, saving their jammer. Their team strategy seems to be staying behind so that they are out of play. And that's the end of the jam. Why the Portsmouth blockers decided to stay back was because if the Copenhagen blockers had gotten far up enough in the front, they would not be allowed to touch the jammer any longer. They would be out of play. And that's 5 seconds to the next jam. Copenhagen's jammer still in the penalty box, which means it's a positive power jam for Portsmouth yet again. And that's Pipistrelle Hell jamming for Portsmouth, 9-6 Pipistrelle Hell. And that's white 7-1-1 gaining a forearm, which means they use their forearm to hit someone, which is not allowed. BethAmphetamine smashing through, trying to gain those points. They are in the lead and can call it, whilst Pipistrelle Hell is trying to do a star pass to their pivot. But Copenhagen has caught onto this and is blocking the crap out of that pivot. Copenhagen is not letting the pivot near the jammer. That's the end of the jam. With just 2 minutes, 41 seconds left on the clock, we got time for maybe 2 more jams, maybe more. Depends on how quickly we call it. And we have just 2.5 minutes left of the last game. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here for the last game. Sticking it out till the end. Give a round of applause for our officials, our NSOs. Woo! And it seems like Copenhagen's player 9-9 is completely out of game. Their wheels got turned upside down all around. Yeah! Last 2 minutes of the game. Anything can happen. Woo! And remember that you too can join Copenhagen Roller Derby either as a volunteer for the next game. You could try it out. Our fundamentals team starts out in January. Our juniors team is always letting new people in between the ages of 10 and 18. And just a few more jams left of this game. The last game of the day. And that's tricky jamming for Copenhagen, but being knocked out, giving Peggy Peril of Portsmouth the lead for this round. Tricky coming in right behind him though. And that's Peggy Peril sneaking in along the track, gaining their first 3 points as there's only 3 blockers on track from Copenhagen. Tricky gets knocked out again. Peggy Peril has the power to call it, but will they try and get some more points before Tricky comes in at them? I think Peggy Peril's is trying to do another round, jamming for the Portsmouth Roller Wenches. And that's a penalty. I'm not sure for who, not sure for why. Tricky is getting knocked out by Portsmouth for this round, but also managing to do that classic sneak around right alongside the track. And that's a cut from White's 5-7, but also Copenhagen seems to be arguing against the cut. Very interesting. Just 1 minute, 20 seconds left on the clock. Very exciting end of the game. And it's a positive power jam for Copenhagen. Portsmouth has to focus on knocking out that jammer. With just 35 seconds left of this jam, 1 minute left of the game, how many points can Tricky gain before the end of the clock? Or will they call it when the other jammer comes back in? They might also choose to call it just to start the game off with a positive power jam. 20 seconds left of the clock of this jam. Tricky's powering through, gaining points on points. 12 so far to Copenhagen, 8 to Portsmouth. Seems like Copenhagen's going to get up to 300 maybe. Portsmouth might make it up to 130 before the end of the game. And Portsmouth jammer is back in the game, which means the next jam will not be a positive power jam. With just 20 seconds left on the clock, let's see how this will turn out with the last jam of the night. One more jam, one more jam, one more jam, one more jam. And that's the end of the last game of the day. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. Woo! Please give it up for Copenhagen Roller Derby. Portsmouth Roller Wenches. coming in from the UK, and also the Concrete Cows. Remember, you can get that beautiful merchandise. This is still the unofficial score. The officials are coming at it for the last score. But yes, you are welcome to come down to the end of the track and give everybody some high fives. It's the last game of the day. And then head over to the merch booth. Look at all that beautiful merch. And remember, you can also join Roller Derby. We need lots of different types of people. People on skates, people off skates, photographers, filmographers, PR people, anything. And thank you for those 3 beautiful games, Copenhagen. I've been Hazel of Copenhagen Roller Derby. Thank you and good night.